Hi, everybody. This is Nanette Kennedy on September 5th, and we are at 2021. In case you're listening to this in the year 2040, we are reading Neale Walsch's book, The Only Thing That Matters. And my name is Nanette Kennedy, and I'm with Humanities Team and the Evolution Revolution. So welcome to for those of you that are listening to the recording, welcome to our group. And I'm going to hand it over to, well, Mary, I don't remember how far we got last time. Do you know what chapter we're on, Mary?
Yes, we're on chapter 25, page 123.
Okay. All right, well, take it away.
Me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So this is chapter 25, a demonstration of free will. The problem is that I seem to move in and out of the level of knowing that I am experiencing now. I seem to get there, then I find myself not there, sometimes in the very next moment, just as described at the end of part 2 of this book. Right now, I'm there again. I understand the point the book is making, that we are all one, and that therefore, what I do for me, I do for others, and what I do for others, I do for me. And so focusing on what one desires is not selfish at all. I also understand that this text is telling me, when it declares that the writer and the reader are at the level of essence in no way separate, and that I am at choice always about whether I choose to experience that. And here is something else that I know. I know that the illusion of separation sometimes serves humanity. In fact, if it didn't serve the species, I have to believe that we would have eliminated the illusion altogether a long time ago. Evolution itself would surely have produced that result. But we've kept this illusion of separation in place because we see that it in many ways serves us. Now it seems to me that what would be most helpful to us at this stage of our development as an evolving species would be to step aside from the separation of illusion where it serves us to do so. If it could be more rapidly end global suffering, for instance, or create a larger, more joyful experience of the self, and to continue to use the illusion when it facilitates our growth or understanding. For instance, when the illusion makes it possible for the human mind to take in much more readily true wisdom and deep insight. In my own case, for example, I find that if I hold the idea that I am writing this book, as opposed to simply seeing myself reading the words of another, the words seem to have less weight somehow. I give them less credence or credibility. For reasons not entirely clear to me, but probably having to do with my own spiritual immaturity and a resulting refusal to see myself as my spiritual authority, I feel much more open to huge insights about life when I experience that they are coming from a source outside of myself. I feel certain that this is not the same for everyone. I don't sense that Paramahansa Yogananda second-guessed himself, and very much in the autobiography of the yogi, for instance. But as the person holding this book right now, I find it easier to hear what it has to say when I don't imagine that I am writing the book myself. And do you know what? The thought just struck me that this perhaps is why we have placed God outside of ourselves. So this little thought experiment was very interesting. And it did give me the direct experience that both the wisdom brought to me here and the wisdom residing within myself are one and the same. But since the ongoing experience of oneness is not mandatory, as the writing here itself points out, I'm pretty much ready to step back into the profile of the reader, stepping aside from any idea that I am the author, if only so that by creating a greater distance between the thinker and the thought, I can embrace the thought itself more fully. So I shall herewith return to the profile of the reader, even if in truth the author and I are one, as my latest demonstration of free will in determining how I choose to experience life. End of chapter. Discuss or keep going?
Well, does anybody have anything they?
I have one little thing. I want to say that I'm kind of sad because I enjoyed the first person perspective of that other chapter. That's all. But, we can go back to the other way because Neale says so. I mean, I might have found it easier to accept the truth and wisdom from outside myself in my youth, but now, it all comes from inside myself, even if it seems like it's outside myself. So I was very comfortable with this perspective, I guess, because I am the author.
Right. Anyone else?
I think I got something to say. Shall I say?
Please do.
I've been brought up, well, I think they're both the same thing, really. We're not limited. We're not limited, but we may not allow the unlimited to move through us. So an opening has to occur and be facilitated to allow the unlimited to be expressed. And I guess that must be where maybe there's, the humility, maybe it's not quite the right word, but just realizing it's not just what's presented physically that's happening here. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but it makes sense to me.
No, I'm following you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yet when we talk about this, it just pops up a discussion I had yesterday with some girl about reading books and getting knowledge and everything, and we talked about I don't know why it's coming, how it's connected to this. I don't know. I think I can find it out. And then we talked about the Gene Keys and human design, and then I told her, oh yeah, I started with going into it for a couple of months, for nearly a year, and then I had a discussion with another girl. She told me, did you read this and everything? And then I just for once, and then just I get an answer, but not out of me, somewhere else that told me, no, all the answers are there. You just have to listen to yourself or to listen to it. And from this moment, I just found out that I easily get to understand the Gene Keys and all this, as I stopped to speed up with going through every book and everything. I just took it by side and just choose a way to a contemplative way to go through, and since then it's very much an assistance or a help for me. And so I also think since then I'm very, how do you say, I'm not going to take on as many books as I did before, because I just keep saying, okay, I need much more time to listen to my own wisdom, or to the wisdom of in the field who is not found in books. Yeah, I think that's it.
Well said.
Yeah, totally.
Well, should we read on?
Mhm.
All right, let's go.
I want to read on because the next chapter says it is time for the struggle to be over. And
Yeah, I noticed that too.
think
As apropos. Okay.
Okay, chapter 26. It is time for the struggle to be over. Bravo, excellent. What a wonderful and unusual experience, yes? You won't find that happening very often in books. We, you and I, used this unconventional, if not outlandish, device to graphically and vividly demonstrate how a simple change in your point of view about anything can dramatically alter your experience. When you see things differently, when you bring in the awareness of soul as your mind encounters the data brought to you by your body, your entire perspective changes. And your perspective, of course, creates your perception. And your perception creates your beliefs. And your beliefs create your behaviors. And your behaviors produce your experience. Bringing you the awareness of your soul to dramatically alter your experience is what this book is all about. So now let's see if we might alter your experience around struggle and suffering. Dear one, it has not been easy, this journey you are on. It has required courage and determination, patience and understanding, a willingness to keep going at all odds, a commitment to continually seek the light even as the darkness grows, and to reach for the good when everything but the good seems to be all around you. It has asked so many of you, this journey, and you have given what has been asked. God bless you. You have given what has been asked. Now it is time for your struggle to be over. You deserve that. You've earned that. Your soul knows this, of course, and agrees. That is why you wound up being drawn to these words. We're going to hear a most profound tool, perhaps the most profound, powerful tool ever created for bringing an end to struggling and suffering in your life. Let's take a look at it, opening with a glimpse at the nature and the cause of struggle and suffering itself. When you have reached one of many moments of completion of the sacred journey, which, as has now been explained, can occur in any one of the moments in a lifetime, your immediate wish will be to experience more of that in greater form. And so your soul will begin the whole process all over again, yet not starting from the beginning, rather starting from right where you are now. A soul knowing. Completion of the sacred journey can occur at any moment. In a sense, you will be born again, having completed your sacred journey. Now you will undertake the journey again with a new destination, with the goal pushed a little further out. Now you might think that this will be a source of frustration, and then it may have been in your past, but it will be no longer, because now you know what's going on. That's why you brought yourself here, in fact, to end the frustration. That's why you have just reminded yourself of the only thing that matters. When you have become fully aware, you will never want the process that has been described here to end. The bliss of evolving to higher and higher levels of divinity will become life's ultimate attraction and a natural reaction. It is exactly that, a reaction, or if you please, a reaction, hyphenated, in the sense that you are acting again as who you really are. It is a recognizing, that is a recognizing, hyphenated, or a knowing again of your true identity. It is the fundamental attraction of life to more life. It is the attraction of God to God itself. It is the impulse of the divine in you. This is the law of attraction, the power to magnetize cars, jewels, and bicycles. I'm going to read the sentence prior to, a couple of sentences right prior to this again. It is the fundamental attraction of life to more life. It is the attraction of God to God itself. It is the impulse of the divine in you. This is the law of attraction, not the power to magnetize cars, jewels, and bicycles. The sacred journey, as it is expressed in physical terms, is sometimes called evolution. In metaphysical terms, it could be described as a process in which one's destination is one's embarkation. The end becomes the beginning in the circle of God. When the clock strikes midnight, what has happened? Has the day ended or has a new day begun?
Mhm.
And when exactly has the first happened? And when has the second? Or is it possible that both are happening at once? This is what is true on the path of the soul. The path appears to be a circle. Yet you do not experience yourself going around in circles as in getting nowhere. Rather, you experience yourself spiraling upward. Think of a slinky, the child's toy that looks for all the world like a one-dimensional circle when viewed directly from above or below, but which reveals itself to be one continuous, multidimensional element that stretches into a spiral, using its own momentum for energy. Ironically, this description of a child's toy could also be a description of the path taken by the totality of you. TOY. This is the real toy story. Now, please know that it is understood by the universe that even as you read this, you are moving through a new stage in your own personal, spiritual, and emotional development. So it is important at this vulnerable time that you not be discouraged. This point was made earlier, and it is worth repeating. It was promised that you would be given a tool that would help you not be discouraged, a tool that would eliminate struggle and suffering from your life. We're about to give you that tool here, but first we need to place what is going to be said here into context. Let it be acknowledged that there have been sad and difficult experiences that many people have undergone in their lives, and that many are continuing to face today, and that these events and their impact are very real. What is written here is not meant in any way to minimize or marginalize that reality, nor the ideals that many people are going through, ordeals that many people are going through. To the unaware observer, the challenging events in the lives of millions may seem like a cruel way for what has here been called the divine purpose to be fulfilled. Why should people have to suffer in order to demonstrate themselves to others or to God, who they really are, or to provide God with the experience of divinity? That is an appropriate, obvious, and important question. It commands our attention, as rightly it should. Every thinking person must receive a satisfactory answer to that question if the spiritual concepts in this text are to have a shred of credibility, a leg to stand on. The answer to this question was also part of an earlier narrative and also deserves to be repeated here. People do not have to suffer in order to express and experience who they really are. This is neither God's request nor God's demand. This does not mean, however, that there will not be sadness and pain in people's lives. There will be, there is, and there will be. Yet there is a blessed reason for sadness and pain, and tears are not signs of suffering, but of release from suffering. Tears wash away our illusions, bringing us to the calm place where divinity, divine reality resides. What is going to be shared here now is not lightly said. It would be a mistake to presume that deep understanding such as that offered in the following paragraphs are presented offhandedly or blithely. Just the opposite is true. They are presented seriously and meant to be taken seriously. They are offered from a place of full honoring of those who have suffered and from a space of hoping to help those who are still suffering now to bring their suffering and their struggling to an end. From this gentle place, we wish to observe that sadness, pain, and suffering are not all the same thing. Now, this does not mean that we should ignore all suffering, look past all of another's torment, and proceed as if nothing bad is happening in the world. Quite the contrary. All of the circumstances on our planet, all of the conditions of life are placed before us, by us. Remember always, we are acting co-jointly. There is only one of us. In order that we may decide, express, and experience who we really are in relationship to them. A soul knowing, sadness, pain, and suffering are not all the same thing. Thus, do those who suffer and those who end the suffering of others both experience who we all really are? And this is exactly what is happening upon the earth. Everything that is happening perfectly so that all may awaken. Many souls choose to be instruments of our awakening, and so are enduring enormous challenges, with many even dying in order that all of us may awaken within us the divine qualities of compassion, caring, understanding, patience, love, and most of all, the unity and oneness of life. Witnessing this, all of us, of course, experience deep sadness. At the deepest level, we are sad that this is what it takes for us to awaken. Yet this does not mean that suffering is required. Sadness is emotional evidence of your deep humanity. If you did not love, if you did not care, if you did not feel deep compassion, you would be truly sad about very little. Sadness is a badge of honor. Wear it proudly. You have earned it with the wounds of your heart. Pain is a psychological or physiological response to exterior stimuli. The fact that you experience it is evidence of the generosity of your soul in taking on the human condition. When you bear it with courage and with strength, you demonstrate the nobility of your sacred journey. Suffering is the mind's response to sadness or pain. If you suffer while experiencing sadness or pain, you have already made a decision that you should not now be experiencing it. It is this decision, not the sadness or pain itself, that is the cause of your suffering. Sadness and physical or emotional pain is what's arising. Suffering is your announcement that you may not fully understand why it is arising and how it all fits in to the agenda of the soul. When you fully comprehend exactly what is taking place in your life, as well as the process of life itself, then your suffering ends, even if the pain continues. Nothing changes, but everything is different. A soul knowing. A way has been found for the sacred journey to continue, yet for the struggle and suffering to end. The biggest difference is that you no longer feel that you are the victim in any life situation. And with the end of victimization comes the end of struggle and suffering. There even comes in the experience of many when one's struggle and pain can actually be celebrated, believe it or not, even as it is being experienced, changing its very definition from suffering to joy. Anyone who has had an aching tooth pulled and endured the endless machinations of the dentist and the unpleasant injection of Novocaine knows exactly what this is about. More profoundly, anyone who has experienced the death of a loved one, all the while knowing that their dear one's next experience is a glorious, happy reuniting with all whom they have ever loved and with divinity itself, knows exactly what this is all about. And any woman who has given birth to a long-awaited and cherished child knows exactly what a pain that turns to joy, even as the pain is experienced, is all about. It is when you make this shift with regard to everything in your life that you switch from suffering to joy in the expressions and experiences of your life. From then on, nothing can touch you in a way that causes you abject suffering, even though you will not be immune to sadness or pain. The question then is, how do you make this shift regarding everything in your life? How can you transform suffering into joy and struggle into peace? Mystics and masters through the ages have assured us that we can do this. A way has been found for the sacred journey to continue, yet for the struggle and suffering to end. Life has given us a remarkably powerful tool that makes this possible. But now, this warning, when you hear of it, it may sound simplistic and overrated. Do not be fooled. It can change everything. The tool? Gratitude. End of chapter.
Thank you, and welcome, Virginia. I'm not even going to try to, Virginia? I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name, but welcome.
It looks like Mirko is here as well.
Yes, I'm Mirko. Glad you're here.
Good evening. Hello, everyone. Thank you for nice reading.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Virginia, hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we sure can. Where are you from?
Yeah.
I am from Lithuania.
From where?
From Lithuania.
Lithuania?
Yes.
Pennsylvania. Okay. Okay.
No.
No, Lithuania.
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 Virginia. Okay. So that's an evening for the European. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well, does anybody have anything they want to say? about this chapter?
The only thing I want to say is I'm kind of glad that he said gratitude instead of surrender. Ha! Because I had quite the struggle with surrender earlier in life. But I reframed it as acceptance, and that worked better for me. Anyhow.
I think that I
I-
read some. Oh, sorry.
I wondered whether, sorry, oh, just quickly, okay. I just wondered whether, you know, the pain and the suffering is really growing pains, that we are awakening to this oneness. And I just remember my sister, I was saying, you know, I haven't had a baby myself, but she has 3 children. And I said, I don't know how anyone could go through the pain of having a baby. And she said, oh, that's just the beginning of it. That's nothing.
She's right.
You know, it's a journey, and there is a lot of suffering. And then we grow through it, don't we? We grow through it. But how we and we have to find our way through it and pick ourselves up through it, pick ourselves up through it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, if I may say, I think because I think that I found in another book of Walsch that when you have such situation, that we have to be thankfully given only feeling only thankful. Thank you for this. Can someone here explain me why is this so?
Ariana, when you just say to be thankful for whatever you gave, I just first, when I met this a while ago, then I just heard her, what bullshit. And then I just found a way that when something happens in my life and it doesn't feel that it doesn't make me happy and it's not what I expected, it takes an illusion away. But meanwhile, I just found out I don't do anything. I just say, okay, this is now the situation, and I don't do anything, and I just wait. And usually in between hours or day, I become very thankful for the situation, because through this, I get to learn something which I never would have discovered. And this is the way that at this moment, I can be thankful for it. But I'm not thankful for the first moment when I just get it. I just say myself, step back, Romy, don't react or act or whatever, just step back. There is that's a part of a bigger play or of a bigger game. And as you are involved in, you don't see you don't see the whole picture. And as soon as I step back, I have got a clue. And in the meantime, I get a part of my picture, and then it fully makes sense that I can be, and I begin to understand, and I'm very thankful. Example, I last time had some issues with my bicycle. I'm used to bicycle, to go on the bicycle every day for 10-20 kilometers at least. And then I had repeatedly problems with, and there were, sometimes I had a flat tire, and then again, and whatever. And I just get angry with it, and it was not by accident, and just thought, oh no, shit, that's not nice. And then later on, I found out that because I'm always on my bike, I'm not doing enough exercises for running and for my feet and for my muscles. Because when I then wanted to go for later than an hour to run also, then I really get problems. And so I really get to focus on how do I fit myself and train, and not to be only on the bicycle, also to be on my foods and feet, not foods, and to move myself. I become very thankful for, otherwise I would have getting to know this, and I really become sensitive for it, because I think as we go to age, our muscles, with not doing a lot for it, they are just reducing, they are become less and less and less. And I mean, for the next 50 years, I will need them. So, okay.
Mirko, you've got your hand up.
Yes, my observation, my personal observation of this chapter is that the good news of today is that sadness is good, because is a manifestation of love. And the second thing for me is that the suffering is a choice, because I experienced this in my life, these two things, sadness and suffering. But at one point, this is the reason because Neale say often that we have to be grateful, because as Anne said before, suffering and suffering is a choice, but we realize this only at one point of our life. And when we realize that we can choose another, this I think is a great message by Neale when he say that we choose our emotions, because many people disagree with this statement, but I think that in his book, when everything change everything, he explained very well that we choose our emotions. So we choose, in the end, if we are victims, if we suffer. I have had this realization at one point in my life, and today I don't suffer anymore for nothing, because I came to this place of be grateful in advance. This is, I think, a secret for every master. Be grateful, because even if I have finished, even if in this moment you are not realizing the benefit of what is happening, even for example, pandemic or even a person that ignore you, as we have been said in a past meeting. Now you don't realize it, but it will come the time that so the secret is because in this book Neale said that life is a repetition. God said this to him, and so I have quite finished. So because life is a repetition, you have had some experience before, and now you can be grateful because you know that when you are suffering, in a few minutes you can change your mind and think in another way. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mary?
Yeah, it's that thing which we've discussed before. Pain happens, suffering is optional. Suffering comes from the attachment, and he said it in this chapter. It was like a really easily overlooked sentence. Suffering comes from the attachment to the idea that this should not be happening. And once you accept that this should be happening because it's happening, then that piece of the suffering goes away. And it reminds me of a quote that Linda has shared in the past from Matt Kahn, which is, only good can come from this. What's happening? I don't know how good can come from this, but I trust and have faith that ultimately only good will come from this. And for me, a thing that happened to me a lot, I mean, that helped me a lot was being able to trace it back. Like, I got fired from this job, laid off, which was devastating at the time, you know, and I ate some ice cream and cried a lot. And because I got laid off from this job, I joined Facebook to keep in touch with friends from that job. And then one of those people posted on Facebook about crazy people laughing in Balboa Park, laughter yoga. So then I'm like, laughter yoga, I need that. So then I Googled it, I called the guy, I started taking it, I trained to be a laughter yoga leader. I then hooked up with this woman who like teaches active meditations and is sort of one of my favorite people I ever met in my life, and trained to lead these active meditations, laughing meditation, dancing meditation. And it's like, because of this thing that happened that at the time felt like a really bad thing, all these other amazing things happened in my life. And being able to like follow that thread just really helped me with trusting. It's like, in the moment, we cannot see all the ways in which the good is going to come from the thing. And so just having the faith that up there in the ether, things are working in ways I can't see or understand. But I have faith, you know, that what I have faith that life loves and supports me, and everything that happens is for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I just, when you say this, Mary, I just say, when I can, how do you say, I'm not going into this all in this thinking. When something happens, it's also helpful for me when I imagine, I think I even talked last or another time about it, to feel like in the center of a hurricane. It's also called to be in the vortex and not to do anything, just to breathe and not to think, just to go, just to leave every device and just to go into nature or whatever, even if it's evening or late night, and I think that's very much helping me also. It's not even thinking of good or whatever concept to try to put all my concepts and all out of my brain, and just to connect me what really is, and to feel myself, and to be in nature, or surrounded by whatever, and then it just flows through me, and then I'm fine and feel healthy again, or fit again, or And I'm thankful for this experience, because I just, right now at the moment, I just know there will be so many changes in my life. It just will blow me away. And the only thing to handle this is just to stand in this vortex, just to trust that everything will be aligned with my life, and it will come out in the best way ever. Yeah.
Thank you.
And to have this faith.
I only want to add and to answer to Mary that the thing that we have to be grateful for me, and even for Neale when I talk to him, are not physical things, but the fact that when we have challenges, we have the secret is to know why things are happening, and things are happening if you choose to see that way, the spiritual way versus physical way. are happening because you have an opportunity to demonstrate divinity, as the chapter says. So, for example, in my life, in the past, I wasn't very compassionate, for example, no? I was very indifferent to the suffering of others, until the point that it happens to me. And so, so I have had to suffer. And now I can understand better the suffering of others than before. So this is a way to I have demonstrate divinity in my little humble life. But others, for example, today we have some experience with the economy, with other persons that are more difficult because for many reasons. But I am very peaceful because I think that every situation, every challenge, even tomorrow when I have to meet some clients, for example, with which I have problems, I know that I can choose how to present myself, and I have the opportunity to demonstrate what I choose. This is the difference from the past for me in my life.
Thank you.
I have finished.
But Mirko, when you talk about this, it comes aligned to something I went last time through, to know where we have power and where we don't. I think when we recognize where we have power, then we can have a huge impact of situations. Because and I think that's also
Neale,
on this way,
Neale say always that we have to ask ourselves, what do I intend to do with this? What do I intend to do? So we have to ask ourselves the right question in order to have the right answer, in my opinion. This is the lesson, the good lesson, positive lesson from this chapter, that we have choice and that we have to ask ourselves in every moment, actually. For example, in this meeting, what do I intend to do? The book say very often another way to put this. What this have to do with the agenda of my soul? I think this is the question of this book. And my life, the question of my life, what do I, what this, whatever is in my life, what this have to do with the agenda of my soul? Not with the agenda of my money, of my bank, of my success that all people want in life. No, this is the wrong question, because the only thing and the only question is what everything has, everything, our relationship, our problems, our like Mary said, when you, for example, Mary, I ask you a question. What the fact that you lose that job had to do with the agenda of your soul, not with the log meditation or others? For me, I don't know you, but for me, probably as it had to do with patience, or you know, I don't know. But the thing is not the people that you have encountered, but what that had to do with the agenda of your soul. This for me is more important. The only question.
Yeah. Well, the reason I shared that is because the laughter yoga and the laughter meditation and all had a lot to do with the agenda of my soul, which is about bringing more joy into the world and helping other people to find their joy. But yeah, the thing about what does this have to do with the agenda of my soul is really the question. And that's the only thing that matters, right?
Well,
I agree. I agree.
I want to add something here. Before all of you are on Zoom.
We're having problem with your audio.
Got problem with audio,
Yeah.
with your audio.
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
That's good. Yep.
Yes, somehow, yeah.
Okay. I had mentioned earlier that my dad died when I was a child, and that it was profoundly sad. But through time, I had 2 more siblings that I adore that would have never happened had my father lived, because my mother remarried. And now I have these 2 wonderful siblings. And it took a long time before I could say, would I undo the death of my father? I would say absolutely. But then I would think of the ramifications. And that would mean I wouldn't have my brother Tony or my sister Amy. So I think that's part of it too.
That's what I was talking about.
Well, we've gone over a little bit. So what else is new? I'm glad we're kind of an easygoing crowd here. Mary, would you like to meditate us out?
Sure. So,
Yes, Mary, why don't you give us a piece of your laughter, Smith, on the way? Just if you feel like.
want that? I mean,
I don't know. It just came into because you mentioned it several times, and it seems that you love it, that you really love to do it, and I love to listen to it. So I mean, but I don't know what the others would like to.
well, so I think we've established that the important question here in life is, how does this fit into my soul's agenda, right? And we don't necessarily know the answer to that as we go through life. So I think the important part is understanding that this fits into my soul's agenda, even if we don't know how. And that helps us to accept the things that might be hard or uncomfortable. And another thing that does help is if you can laugh at those things. Laughter changes your energy immensely around a situation. So one of the things we do in laughter yoga is we make laughter exercises about things like, pull out your empty pockets and laugh at that. Or, take the bill out of the envelope and look at the high amount and then laugh at it. Maybe tear it up and throw it away. So for this week, if something challenging happens, maybe we can look at that thing and it's got like a monster face on, and we look at it and maybe we turn it into like the monsters from that movie Monster Inc. or like a child's cartoon, So instead of the big scary monster, it's like kind of a little funny monster, and then we can just laugh at it. And it has no power. So a laughter exercise laughter yoga is really silly. It's like kindergarten for grown-ups. So if you have trouble just laughing, you can do something like take a laughter vitamin. So, here in your hand, you put a little laughter vitamin, And this pill, one that I really like is it's a time release. So you take it, and then like a second later, it makes you laugh like this. So there's other ones like you could take a ho vitamin. Ho. But I really like hee because it's funny. So you take the little one. Some people have easier time with it than others, and I understand that. And the first time I saw laughter yoga, I thought it was insane, really truly. And the second time I saw it, I was fertile soil, and it planted a seed. It changed my life. So, so to wind it up, just as we go through this week, practicing acceptance of all that is as it arises. And that might even include sadness in us, and it might even include resistance in us. And resistance is a good time to laugh, you know. When you're laughing, you can't be thinking and telling stories in your head. Laughter turns off the storytelling side of your brain and brings you into the moment. And it also floods your body with all these feel-good chemicals. So if you would like to, I invite you to we're going to take a little drink, a laughter shake. So put whatever into the glass you think would make you laugh. And then we're going to drink it, and then it's going to just make us all laugh like loons. So gug, 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 gug.
Oh,
Thank you for sharing this.
alrighty
Thank you, Ron.
then.
Thank you.
That's a good one, Romy. All right, thank you, everybody. I love you all, and we'll see each other next week. And for those people who are celebrating Labor Day tomorrow, happy day off for those that can take a day off. And we'll see. Yes. So, all right then. I love you all. And we'll see each other next week. And thank you, Linda. And thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mirko, Romy, Virginia, and
And
Derby.
Nanette.
Well, thank you.
Nanette,
All right.
yes, thank you also. And question, when do you have the prayer? Is this always the first evening in
It's
the
gonna
call?
be next. It's gonna be next week.
Can
next-
you put me in? Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good, thanks.
Okay. All right. Love you all.
Thank you
Talk to
all.
next
Bye,
week.
everybody.
you all.
Love
Thank
you.
you.
Love
Bye
you all.
bye.
right,
Thank
bye-
you.
Bye bye.